Not since the days of Molesworth has a child soiled his own copybook so readily and so eagerly and so thoroughly. The Conservatives will be arriving in Manchester in a veritable parade of moistness, a dripping misery of regret. So, what does the Conservative Party stand for today? If you talk to David Frost, you'd think it stands for a hard Brexit, but that's not what's been achieved. What's been achieved is a command performance by the Europeans, a command performance by Brussels over the UK, and the resulting collapse of our economy. David Gauke could sort of try clinging on to the wreckage and say, tax reform, or other people could say, let's do something about inheritance tax, thinking of George Osborne's attempt or threat to do that in 2007, which stopped Gordon Brown calling an election. But the point is, George Osborne never did do anything about inheritance tax. So whatever Jacob Rees-Mogg may say in his programme, of course, he's no longer really an active MP. He is an active performer and very good at it. Nothing's going to happen there. So what do we know about the future of the Conservative Party? What is going to be in the manifesto? What is Rishi Sunak going to announce on Wednesday? Well, we've got HS2 and we've got the English baccalaureate. The English baccalaureate already exists. HS2 has already destroyed plenty of people's farms and homeland and life in the compulsory purchases which were resisted all the way, and now there's nothing going to be built. It's going to be a vanity project that doesn't start in London and doesn't end in Manchester. And yet Manchester is the place where Rishi Sunak and the Drinks Cabinet are heading. Uh, you know, Rishi Sunak is going to try to claim that after 13 years, his government is determined to dedicate itself to long-term decisions for a brighter future. Well, after 13 years, can we not switch the lights on? After 13 years, the Conservative Party has proven that it's not good at calming the markets. Calming the markets after Truss and after Brexit, well, maybe it's calmed them a little bit, but it's like taking some sort of indigestion tablets after having eaten a hearty dinner. Hey, just better not to eat the hearty dinner after gorging yourself. It's called gluttony. And after Truss and after Brexit, both of them Conservative errors, we have failed to deal with those errors completely. We've not put the clock back. We've gradually inched the clock a few seconds back, but we've not gone back to before Truss. We've not gone back to the prosperity before Brexit. We are struggling with the result of both of these things, and we're struggling with Northern Ireland, or rather with the bloated importance that Theresa May granted the DUP, and therefore accepting the consequences of that perverted ego trip under Boris, under Truss, and now under Sunak, despite all the efforts, the monumental efforts, the spectacular efforts of Chris Heaton-Harris. The Conservative Party used to be the party of competent management for the economy. That's been destroyed by Brexit and by the pandemic, or rather by the forces of these indeterminate forces of globalization. The Conservative Party used to be a broad church that would embrace people on the left of the centre, people on the right of the centre, people who are so far left that they might as well be in the Labour Party, people who are so far right that they might as well be in the National Front, and yet they were held together by the concept of conservatism. Not anymore. Now they go off to UKIP, which is the National Front in all but name. What was so extraordinary about penetrating UKIP was how many people from the National Front were in its organisational structure. Not on the ground, but in the organisational structure. You just looked for all the people without hair and without necks, And now we see, this broad church. Was it a broad church that saw such defiance under Mrs. May? Was it a broad church that had Boris exile 21 MPs for defiance over Brexit? No. No. That's a form of dictatorship. And now we hear that the Conservative Party is no longer the party of the elite. Is no longer. It's now the party of the Red Wall. It's fighting the elite. I thought that was what the Labour Party did. I thought that's what the Liberal Party did. No, the Conservative Party is taking on the elite. What is this imaginary elite? It's a civil service that hampers our attempt to control immigration, and yet it's the Home Office which does deals with 4 or 5 second-rate hotel chains, deals which will be in place for long after the backlog of immigration requests has been cleared. What are we going to do then? I suggest we fill those hotels with homeless people. Look after our own. The elite is also, if you listen to Jacob Rees-Mogg, about control of Whitehall, about about the civil servants. The civil servants are the elite. It's as if everybody has been devouring. A minister. Yes, minister. Yes, prime minister. And that's all they've been doing. The Conservative Party has become a party that is unnerving rather than reassuring, unnerving rather than embracing investors, with talks of scrapping HS2 or cutting back HS2, and then adding insult to injury by holding the Conservative Party conference in a city that will be rendered inaccessible by an HS2 which will never get there. I really look forward to witnessing Manchester's greeting of Rishi and his feeble drinks cabinet. The only thing Rishi could possibly do to redeem this situation would be a distraction in the form of a monumental sacking of Suella Braverman. That might buy him time, but that's all it's going to do. And I have every suspicion that Rishi Sunak is not up to that, sadly.